All right, part two. Okay, so so activate the dormant shells. You start to, because they actually run on your energy. These shells run on your energy. That's the reason. It's not that they don't exist. It's because you don't actually have enough energy in your body to activate them. That's that they're powerful, right? Because they run off your energy. So these, whatever, right? Like if something is coming and it has the ability, let's say, to read your mind, right? Or like these movies with the vampire, like these, they have the ability to like to glamour you or to like look into your eyes and like hypnotize you, right? You would actually have to, you possess that ability because that is an aspect of your connection to all things, right? And the largest mind or the greatest will always wins. The sun is more aware of things than you. That's why it's more powerful than you are, and that's why if it decided to stop shining, you would die because you actually exist within its body. Okay, you exist within its field. If it's like if you existed too far outside of its field, maybe on Pluto or something, your life would be a lot different. So it's the same thing with you. And when you start to travel your own field, you start to move, you start to come back into the center. You won't actually know where you are until you just head to the center. I recommend getting to the center first, right? And that's becoming still and all like this. But sometimes you might need to zigzag up the path a little bit. Sometimes to know where center is when you start get going. And it might be slow going at first, like a train. It's like chugga, 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 or like beep, 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 or like beep, beep, beep 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 beep, and then you're like humming then, right? Like right? You're like there's not even two anymore. It's like you're moving so fast that it looks like you're not moving at all. This is the knowledge, okay? So um so there's this, what I call like personal karma versus collective karma. And your personal karma is how fast you can spin while not engaging with anything else. Like you simply, this is like what Muji and some of these other, yoga masters and things teach, is how to find this place within where you can spin freely, where you're not dealing with, the problem with, your mother, or the problem with, the war, or the problem with the famine, or the problem with whatever, because you collapse all that idea into the oneness and you see that it's always been that way, it'll always be that way. These are the lessons, and people who are in those fields going through these lessons, and they do have the power to rise and fall at will, so but at the same time, you recognize that you have been in those places, and sometimes it takes a helping hand to come into those frequencies and offer to assistance to pull you out. And if somebody came into your frequency, like maybe you saw some teacher on the internet, or you met somebody, at wherever, and they started talking to you and they got you on the vegan thing, or, they got you into the, meditation, they got you into yoga, they put you on some book that really opened your eyes or whatever. They actually came into your frequency, gave you something from a different frequency to change your frequency. That's an angel, right? So if an angel came and helped you, in a sense, in balance, you at some point must come and be the angel, because that angel was you to begin with, just on another timeline. So you actually have to play that role now, so it makes sense, right? So right, so when it's just your personal karma, you're not doing that, right? But when you are dealing with the collective field, because the whole thing is you, it's like eventually if you want to become the whole universe, you have to be able to balance the whole universe. Eventually you would have to be able to put a planet into balance. But how are you going to put the planet into balance if you can't put your own body into balance? You can't master your diet, you can't master your thoughts, you can't master your emotion, you can't master your relationships. It's like if you can't do that, then you can't master a moon, you can't master orbits, you can't. So it's one step at a time. We take baby steps, right? But it's all the same thing. People that you see every day, these are things that are orbiting you, right? Okay, so personal karma versus collective karma. When it's personal karma, it's almost like, if you're familiar with like a manual transmission, if you press the clutch and you hit the gas, it's going to take a much less fuel to make those RPMs go up than if the clutch was released, right? And if it's in first gear and you hit the gas, it's going to take a lot more fuel to get to those same RPMs than if the clutch was disengaged. Make sense? So that's what it is. If you are disengaged with the external world, you can spin a lot faster. If that's a test in itself to even disengage. Like that's something that the majority of people haven't mastered. It's not something that they teach. It's not something, some places in the world they still teach it, but in the Western world they don't really teach that. But that's something that really needs to be mastered first, is the ability to be able to disengage your consciousness or your will, not even your consciousness, your will, your reaction to external stimulus. Okay, it comes to a point where you just you eat it like it becomes fuel for you. That's it. It's like you use it as stimulation to raise your frequency. It's just you take it, you see it, you become it, and then it becomes you, and it just merges with you and makes you bigger. It's just like you're a blob, it's a blob, the blob comes into you and you become a bigger blob. Like you don't actually separate it and say I'm this human and this is pain, or this is some suggestion, this is hunger, this is whatever. You don't look at it that way because you are steadfast in your will to transcend the physical boundary. Okay, but so this knowledge will apply to someone who's done that, and if they've done that, over time they're going to get this knowledge anyways, because it's everybody's knowledge, not my knowledge, not the other person's knowledge, whatever. And really the things that I'm saying right now isn't something that I go read in a book. It's not something that I go whatever. This is my own life experiences, my own introspection, my own intuition, my own experience, right? And I'm just sharing. So but and that's okay. Like if you want to just disengage, it's basically like it's like if you could just like basically just like it's just like popping off your head in a sense. Like if you could just pop off your head from your body and kind of float your head above your body, like figuratively speaking, of course. If you could do that, then all the sensations in the body, it wouldn't matter. Your leg could be on fire, it could be whatever, it wouldn't bother you. So you can't be held hostage then. Okay? So it's important. But you need your body is like the beast. Your body is strong. It is dense. It is physical. It is structured. It can hold things. You can build things on it. Like it's your root. So it's not something to just be forsaken. Like, and that's kind of what the right hand path in a sense, in its extreme sort of, I don't. It kind of does, kind of doesn't, whatever. But you get the idea. So. Right, and so this beast, when they call it the beast, the mark of the beast, this can be something that is your friend. It can be something that's your foe. The same thing with the mind. The mind, it can be your worst enemy before you bring it to heal. Before you place yourself up here, if you're constantly like living in, like most people are living in their roots. Basically, most people are living in their legs, like they on the cosmic blueprint. Because that's another thing about the third eye. The third eye is. It projects the universal blueprint onto the reality. Just like in a video game where you have like the heads up display where it shows you, like you might have a radar and be like, okay, that's an enemy, this is that, you have this much fuel left. That's what it does. Okay, and it allows you to navigate and bring order to things. Before you do that, you might be living in the lower world, and where the legs, they split, so you're in duality. You might be thinking like, man, how am I gonna get my next paycheck? Man, how am I gonna get these new J's? Man, how am I getting? And then the next chakra, most people are like between like 1 and 2 chakras, and their second chakra is all like way out of balance because they're constantly dealing with the whole over-sexualized culture and all these things they're dealing with. They're always looking at the girls in the yoga pants and all like that, and they're always coming off. So this is, it's not to say it's good or it's bad, but it's something to be aware of. So, right. So the beast, it can become your greatest ally, right? This carbon-based structure is beautiful, but there are a lot of forces, because it is powerful, seek to influence it. Because if they can influence it, they gain power. It's like the person who can control the most humans, in a sense, is the person who can have the most power on the planet, in a sense. If you in a certain level, obviously, but you get the idea. So master yourself. That's what I'm saying. Someone who goes off and tries to master others is simply one who is insecure and can't master themselves. Because if you master yourself, it's a whole different ball game when you're dealing with other people. Okay, because they're more like your family as opposed to your subject, or your something that you're trying to manipulate for your own ego purposes. So where do I want to go with this next? 10 minutes. So, okay, here's another concept. We'll call it spiritual scouts, right? So during this time, you get these movies that come out, right? Like Star Wars is in like the Star Wars universe, or the superhero movies are really big right now. Why do you think that is? Just like think about it. Like why? Because as above, so below, as within, so without. Why are all these projections of all these beings that can do superhuman things with whatever? Why are they being projected into the consciousness? What's going on here? And if you think about it, you know, that's you. That's why it's so appealing to you, okay? But just like how this is a matrix, or you know, you can go into because a matrix is just a womb. Basically, a matrix is the place where you develop, right? So it's just like a foster care. Like if I think I might have mentioned this before, if you are a foster parent or whatever, you get a certain amount of current or energy or money from the government, right? Or the one who's ruling, or the creator, or whatever, because, you know, reflections, based on how many souls or children you have within your matrix or womb or household, right? So if these beings can create something that appeals to you, like a Marvel universe, right? Then where you can go and learn these lessons about, you know, right and wrong, and, you know, how to get stronger, and like all these different things, you know, and morals, and it appeals to you, then you may be attracted to that. If you leave your body and you see these lights, right? You see these lights, you might be attracted like a moth to a flame. You might go into this light, and this light that you enter might be something like a Marvel universe, right? It's the same thing. You go into this dark space, and then there's this light, and you get attracted to this light, right? Which is like the trailer to the movie. Now, it's like, okay, think about the phenomenon of the trailer, right? So this trailer comes, and then you know in about 3 months this movie's gonna come out in its full form, right? You might get a minute or two little glimpse of what it is, and that attracts you, and then you go see it. But now they're giving you like these hours and hours and hours glimpse of this other world, this virtual world, right? Where things that in this world aren't possible, but in that world they are possible. So you could see this as another cosmic trailer, something that's advertising. Everything is advertising, right? It's like the stars are advertising. They have a certain vibration. They have a certain field where certain things grow, right? It's like this star may be preferential to strawberries and bananas and broccoli, and this one over here might be more preferential to apples, oranges, and barley. And based on your preferences, because you have preferences. You might have preferences. Like you might like strawberries more than you like bananas or whatever. So you might choose to go live on that star as opposed to going and living on that star. You see? So you go and so this is like, I mean, I hope this is making sense, man, because you could really do a lot with this. I feel like if you just kind of applied this, I feel like a lot of things could happen. So, okay. So these corporations, or these corpses, right? These bodies need spirits or souls or energy to activate or become alive. So it's like somebody could have this idea of, you know, the new Iron Man movie, but if they don't actually get a whole bunch of spirits, a whole lot of solar energy, a whole lot of currency, a whole lot of investment, then they'll never create it. It'll never become activated. It'll never actually manifest. So you might have creators who come up with because a creator created the whole universe, right? It must be. So if you macro scale, if a creator comes up with a universe, if it's not beautiful and attractive and, you know, all like this, eventually it's going to be empty. It's like if you build a theme park but all the rides suck. It's like you might build it and then people might come out of curiosity, but eventually it's like they were going to try to leave. And it's like that might be part of your universe. Like you might build this theme park and be like, I'm going to get all these souls in here, haha. But since I suck at building and I'm actually very insecure with myself, and I just, want people to be around me because I don't have my own energy and I can't really create anything for myself. So I'm gonna get all these creators coming. I'm gonna get their energy, haha. But all my rides suck. They're gonna get to your theme park and they'll be like, oh man, this ride sucked. But that's part of your plan because now you're gonna build all these walls and these fences around and all these mental barriers and boundaries, and they're never gonna figure it out. And that might be part of the movie. But it's like, as a soul, if you have a soul, if you connected to the universe, there's nothing you can't do. It's like, if you wanted to bad enough, you could just fly out of the theme park. Like, if you really had the will, you could do it. Like, whatever, but they think whatever they think. You know what I'm saying? But there's a reason why you can fly in your dreams, okay? So there's a reason you can do a lot of things when you don't have all these judgments about what you can't do, okay? So, but there's this force of inertia and momentum. It's like you have to keep believing. It's like you can't just wake up and be like, I can fly, and then fly. It doesn't work that way because you've been believing for maybe 20 years that you can't. So you might actually take some real focus and intention and will and, pureness of action to accomplish these things, but they're definitely possible. Okay. So you expand, these forces begin to, man, I haven't even got into this awakening and self-defense thing. I don't really think. Okay, I'm gonna just kind of maybe just cut this video a little bit short and kind of watch him, and then maybe I'll just, I say I'm gonna come back on things, but usually I don't, but we'll see. Spiritual scouts, right? Okay, so just like a being might come to a high school and you may know they're there, you may not know they're there. They're just kind of like some random person in the audience. They look like everybody else, but really they're special. They're a scout to see if they want you, your force, your skill in their company, their school, their corporation, their body, their creation, whatever, right? So they might come to your high school, and if you're a really good player, then they might recruit you. They will offer to give you a certain knowledge or a certain schooling or a certain potential in exchange for your service, right? So maybe there's a Jedi Academy somewhere, and maybe they're constantly on the lookout, in different planets in the galaxy for potential, for beings who show potential for what they're looking for. And they may start to influence and in more subtle ways start to influence your reality to see and test you to see if that's really your path or not. And it's not just, the Jedi, but it can be whatever. Maybe it's being a healer. Maybe it's being whatever. Everybody has a different path, right? But if these things never occur to you, then chances are you're just going to be like, because this is how it works. So the cycles go like this, right? This is one chakra, one world. When you get to the top, when everything becomes made available to you, like right now, the internet, that's just all you need to say, the internet. Most of the knowledge that's been on the earth, if you look hard enough, you can find it, right? That's how you know you're at the top of your cycle. Because right before this was the Dark Ages, people were getting burnt at the stake for even mentioning that a herb would heal you. Think about it. They will burn you at the stake if you tell them that you can take this herb and it'll heal you. So just imagine where you are right now, where you just came from, okay? So don't squander the opportunity is what I'm saying, basically. So once you get up to the top of your cycle, you have two choices. You can either go through the gate, so you would basically go like this. So you're going like half circles like this, right? You're spiraling up your spine like this, like a snake, right? But you could also go like this, and then fall, and then fall, and then fall, and fall. You could keep doing that forever. And just like you might just keep reincarnating on the earth in this time and just keep living these lives with no memory of what happened before, and that might just be you forever. That's called a lost soul, right? So, okay, maybe like one of the last things, because this is kind of getting long. What a demon or with the spirit or whatever these people are, whatever, because they don't have a physical body in most cases, they're less concentrated. So what they actually appear as is more like a gas or like a mist or a field, right? So it's like and they might, if they possess someone, they might just, their field may originate inside the body or maybe being insulated by the body, but it's like you just walk around that person and you're just kind of like something's going on with that person. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's because they may have this spirit inside, and then this field around them. Just like if somebody has the spirit of joy and compassion and love and confidence and all these things that one would consider to be good, if they have those spirits that choose to inhabit their temple, then you come around that person, you're like, man, I like that person. You know what I'm saying? So it's very simple, right? Man, I didn't even really get into what I really wanted to get into as far as the self-defense thing, about really paying attention to what goes on in the mind and how you can kind of pinpoint these things and all like that. And maybe it wasn't meant to be. Maybe I'll come back and do it. But I'll probably still call this video Awakening in Self-Defense, and maybe I'll just come back and do another one or something. So yeah, I think that that might be it. You know, I'm definitely open to like comments and different things. You know, I might post my email on this, or I got an email. It's immovableself@gmail.com. You know, I'm open to questions, comments, things like that, because if somebody's actually on a wavelength where this video even pops into their reality, that means it's for you. So don't hesitate to reach out, because this is something reaching out to you at the same time. So and they say God helps those who help themselves. So if your hand's reaching out to you, sometimes you need to reach out and do the same thing. So because again, this is a general more overview, and if somebody has specific situations or whatever, then it might require a more specific approach. So yeah, that's great. So have a great day.